Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's Splunk session. Today's topic we have on Splunk for Rookies, and we have Mehdi Benali, our Partner Technical Manager for EMEA region from Splunk, who will be taking you through the session. Also, joining us in the session today, we have Tushar and Mahdi as well. So all your queries and questions, we would request you to please put it in the Q&A tab, and Tushar here and Mahdi will be able to answer all of your questions. So, Mehdi, over to you. You can begin the session.
All right, sure. Thank you so much. So, good morning, everybody. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, today I will take you through Splunk for Rookies, which is a very popular workshop in Splunk, right? That's one of the most delivered workshop, and that's one of the most attended workshop as well. It's very much praised by our customers and partners, right? So just a bit of introduction about myself. So my name is Mehdi Benali. I'm a partner technical manager in Splunk. I've been in Splunk for nearly 2 years now, and prior to that, I worked for companies such as McAfee, Verizon Business, Malwarebytes, etc. Okay, so I will be your host for today, and I will basically walk you through various scenarios. So I just want to make it clear that this is an entry level workshop, right? Just to set the expectations right. So it's good for someone who doesn't have much experience with Splunk to understand what is Splunk, what is the value proposition of Splunk, and how you can do some basic SPL queries in Splunk to address or to tackle challenges related to ITOA, security, etc. Okay, so there will be a theoretical part at the beginning, which shouldn't last too long, and then we'll go through some hands-on. Okay, so we'll have like a scenario, and I will ask you to create specific dashboards, and with all the data that I give you, with all the hints, basically you will have to do it. Okay. However, I will be here to help you, of course. And at any point of time, if you get lost during the session, please feel free to tell us. Right? I don't want you to stay behind, and this is very common, especially now that we deliver Zoom, Zoom or virtual sessions. It's very common for someone to get lost along the way, and to be shy to reach out. So please don't be shy. If you get stuck, if you get lost, if you need any help, any clarification, please tell us. All right, so let me just start the presentation. So this is a forward-looking statement. This is basically for legal purposes. So it means that any roadmap related information that I provide you shouldn't be how to say used as a decision criteria for you to buy the solution. I won't be discussing any roadmap information here, so it's fine. We are safe. Okay, so that's the agenda for today's workshop. So we'll talk about the value of data. We'll talk about how you can leverage Splunk for investigating, right? I mean, Splunk is the world's most famous tool when it comes to investigating and troubleshooting. We'll go to the hands-on session. So basically everything we'll do it in the context of an application. So the first thing that we'll do is to create a Splunk application, and inside this application we will add data. All right. So on top of this data, we'll run some queries, what we call SPL queries, and we'll run some transforming command. So we'll basically, the result that we get, we'll transform it into a nice visual dashboard, right? We'll see as well how you can extract a new field. So this part, normally techies love that, because with most SIEM solutions out there, not only SIEM solutions, by the way, but the approach is to structure your data. Okay, so basically you have to use regex, right? You have to create parsing, custom parsing, and those of you who are familiar with regex, you will know how painful it is when you have some complex logs, right? So you will see with Splunk we have a built-in regex engine, which makes it very easy for you to extract some fields. And towards the end, and that will be the last step, with the dashboard that we have, we will basically make it dynamic, right? So we will add some time picker, for example. Okay, there is a lot more to Splunk. So there are lots of things that we could not cover, that we won't cover. If I wanted to cover all of this, it will take maybe 3 or 4 days, right? So we will do it step by step. So basically clustering, so how you can put indexes in the same cluster and replicate the data. This we won't be covering. How you can integrate via API, SDK, how you can collect some data from databases with DB Connect, how you can use Splunk Stream to get metadata on the application at all layer of the OSI model, how you can use a deployment server to centralize and manage the configuration of your forwarders, etc., etc. Okay, so we can have other sessions to cover some of those topics. So that's the objective for today. So basically, I will give you some logs, right, some data, and out of this data, I want you to give me this nice, beautiful dashboard with all the information at a glance. All right, so first thing first, okay? So basically, I want you to register, okay? So what I will do now, let me just share those links with you. Just a sec. Okay. All right, just a second. Shouldn't be too long. So allow me 1 second, please. Okay. All right. Okay. That's fine. So let me share the link with you. Actually, I'm going to share all the links. So you will have the link to register, right? So we'll be running this session on AWS instances, okay? So so just check. I'm going to broadcast. Okay, so there you go. I just sent the link to register to everyone, okay? So just go on this link and register. I will give you like 5 minutes to do so. Enter all your details, your interest, your point of interest, whether it's security, IT, business analytics, etc. Okay, and it will take a bit of time before it actually creates the AWS instance. And let me also share with you the hands-on lab guide, because there is a hands-on lab guide to help you through the hands-on part. So I'm sharing it with you now. So everything is being shared in the chat, and I'm also sharing the deck. Okay, so the presentation that I use will also be shared in the chat. Okay, and all right. So while you're actually creating your instance, I have a question. Okay, so can you please walk through advanced training resources? Okay, so basically, when it comes to Splunk, you have like various accreditation level. Okay, so you have certifications which are sales related, so which are good for RSM. Okay, and you have certifications which are good for on the pre-sales side. So for pre-sales engineers, so you have SE1, SE2, and then architect. Okay, mostly from and SME as well. So IT or security SME. SME standing for subject matter expert. So those certifications are available online. I can send you the link later on. And basically, before you actually get certified, you have to attend a couple of trainings. So SE1 is free of charge, well, providing your partner. No, hang on, sorry, my bad. No, you Splunk Fundamentals 1 is free. Splunk Fundamentals 2 has a cost associated. And then you have like a certification to acquire through Pearson. So SE1 is pretty simple to get, and then you have SE2, which is a bit more advanced, and then architect, and then you have basically post sales.
Mehdi, sorry to cut you.
Yes.
We are not able
Yeah.
to see your screen.
I stopped sharing. That's why.
Is it? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I stopped sharing. Okay. So what I'm going to do, and I won't talk too much about the training resources. So what I'm doing instead, I'm sharing my email address, okay, in the chat. So don't spam me, but if you have any question related to training or related to something else, just feel free to reach out to me, okay? And now I'm going to share my screen again. All right. So now you should be able to see my screen again. Yes. All right. So basically, the natural process of the world is to create complexity. So through that complexity, we are like experimenting and constantly evolving, leading to, well, the amazing world we know today. Don't think negatively, right? Don't think about COVID-19 or anything like that, right? I mean, aside from that, we have done like an amazing progress, and we have evolved a lot, right? So the digital world actually has followed the exact same process, right? And it has also created even more complexity. From the first line of code that we've created, we've seen an explosion of new systems and new technologies. Okay. Now, for example, if you think about IT environment, like IT environment as you knew them like 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, were very different from today, right? There was no cloud, there was no virtualization. It was mostly hardware based. You didn't have containers. You had some very specific boundaries when it comes to perimeter security, right? So this has evolved a lot. Why? Because companies adopt like a customer centric approach, right? So the idea is to make to give the best customer experience, right? Very smooth experience. So customer can purchase from wherever they can use whatever application, etc. Okay. Yes.
Mehdi, sorry, your screen is not shared.
My screen is not.
It's not shared. It's not being shared.
Oh, really? Okay, that's strange. Okay, I was actually sharing it. All right, thanks, Mehdi. Okay, is it now? Yes.
We can. Yep, I can see the presentation loading. There you
go. Okay, all right. So don't worry, guys. Thanks a lot, Mehdi. Don't worry, you didn't miss much. Okay, that was the slide I was talking about. Okay, so I stayed the whole time on this slide. So basically, we've seen like an explosion of new devices. Right. So today we are surrounded by technological advances that are changing the way we work and the way we live. Right. And it's gonna get better. Thinking about AI, machine learning, connected devices, self-driving cars, etc., etc. Now the thing is, this whole new digital universe generates lots of data, right? If you think about it, there are some things you couldn't have done like 10 years ago, right? That you can do now, like ordering a taxi, right? Through an application, doing the same with the food, booking your flight ticket online, managing your flight booking online, right? So every time you transact with an application, it actually generates data. Okay, and you know, based on the type of industry that you're in, you will generate, you know, more or less data. So let's take, for example, manufacturing, right? So it doesn't stop at, you know, the databases, right, or the servers. There is much more to that now. Okay, so you know, you may need to look across your app devices, manufacturing system, physical inventory. You know, so there is a lot of data that you can get from all those disparate system and services, and this data can give you a lot of insight on your business, on how you're doing, right? And you know, some companies who are very successful, which are very successful today, have understood that. They have understood that, you know, data is key, and data is very important, right, when it comes to your business model. So, for example, if you take Amazon or Uber, right, they have understood how to really drive outcome from their data. So why don't, you know, most okay, I went too fast. So why not most companies or more companies actually do that? Well, it's not that easy, right? So organizations of all sizes have, you know, they have told us that they see the potential value of the data, of the real-time data, but turning it into action is quite difficult depending on the approach that you have. So most commonly, the solution that is being offered to those companies is to try to structure their way out of the problem. Okay, so the data is unstructured, no problem. We'll structure it, right? We'll parse it. We'll extract the fields. We'll put them in a relational database, and that's it. But honestly speaking, even with a massive budget, integration tools, business process maps, and a team of data or database experts, the increasing volume, speed, and variety of data source makes it increasingly difficult to make headway. So that's the reason why many of the promises of big data just haven't been realized. Now Splunk has a very different approach, okay? So basically Splunk has been, well, actually we changed the whole, how do you say, initially we were like a big data platform, so we changed the whole messaging, and it makes sense, right? Now we call Splunk the data to everything platform. And I kind of like this approach. Why data to everything? Because, you know, data to every question, every decision, and every action you take. Okay. So Splunk data to everything is designed to unlock the trapped value by bringing data to, you know, like I say, every question, decision, and action that you may have. And as you can see here, this data can be leveraged to deliver different type of outcome, whether it's IT related. So let's say that, you know, you want to know the system and the health, the system and services health, right? You want to see if your assets, if your environment is healthy, if you respect your SLA, if you don't have an outage, if your systems are up and running. In that case, you know, you can drive how to say outcome. You can derive outcome from your data. So that will be IT. Now, let's say you're more concerned about security, right? So you want to be able to identify advanced threats in real time, right? And also do some forensics, right? So something has happened. You want to ask the typical question: who, when, what? So Splunk, actually, since Splunk can ingest any type of data, being structured, unstructured, semi-structured, you can ask any type of question to this data, right? You have everything, all the data at your fingertips. Whatever you want to know, just run a simple query, like we will do it later on, and you can get the information that you want. Okay, if you're into, you know, app development and you want to shorten the app development cycle, right? So you want to ingest the data from, the software that you use through the application development lifecycle. Okay, you can do so. So you can centralize everything into Splunk. If it's IoT related, right? So again, if it's industrial IoT, an outage in industrial IoT will cost you a lot, right? So again, you want to be able to make sure that if something happens, you can get down to the root cause of the issue, right? And even better if you can predict. And Splunk actually has some machine learning capabilities which helps you predict up to 30 minutes in advance if something is going to happen, right? This is true for IT. This is true for IoT as well, okay? So when it comes to predicting outages, we can do so. And then, of course, business analytics, okay? So, how many products have I sold in a specific region, right? How am I doing with, in this country, in this city? So, is this marketing campaign successful, right? So basically, you can adapt on the fly, right? You can see that the marketing campaign is not successful. You can just create a new one. So through its acquisitions, Splunk gives you the ability not only to monitor and analyze data, but also to act upon the data. And this is very important, right? So it covers the whole life cycle. So investigating, monitoring, analyzing, and act. Okay, so I give you a simple example, right? So you have received, I don't know, a phishing email, okay, and you use Splunk Enterprise Security to run some investigation, and it turns out that the file is malicious, right? The next thing you want to do is to take action, right? So quarantine this file, quarantine whatever endpoint the file resides on, etc., etc. So Splunk gives you the ability to do that. Okay, so as I said, so basically Splunk is known to be the world's best, investigating and troubleshooting tool. Now, basically, how did it come to that? So Splunk initially was built from the ground up to be able to ingest any type of data, being structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. So how do we do that? So we don't actually rely on a database, right? That's the secret. So we actually use a flat file system, which gives us the ability to just ingest data the way it is, right? Now, when do we actually apply a schema to the data? When we read it. So when you run a search, this is when we will apply a schema to the data. Okay, so this approach, as I said, has given us the ability to get the information in real time, to get fast time to value, and to scale very easily, right? Because structuring the data, trying to structure the data, actually impedes all those four key advantages. Okay. So another reason why Splunk is very scalable is because we have a 3-tier architecture, and our biggest license volume is something like 5-6 petabytes of data on a daily basis, which is huge, right? I don't know if you can picture 4 or 5 petabytes of data, but it's actually quite consequent in terms of volume. So how do we do that? So basically we have this 3-tier architecture. So we have at the bottom here in pink the forwarders, or basically the way we collect data. Okay, it doesn't have to be through a forwarder, but you can use a forwarder. It has lots of advantages, as we will see in the next slide. But you can also collect data via stream. So you can collect data off the wire. You can collect data via API. You can run a script on your Linux machines, for example. You can collect data via HTTP event collector. which is truly agentless. You can send data directly, via syslog, so TCP UDP. You can collect data from the databases. So you can use like an agent to collect the data, and also to write to the database if you want to. You can collect data from the containers as well, right? So if you use, Docker, Kubernetes, OpenShift, you can use. We have some integration capabilities, right? And we already are widely used when it comes to integrating with a container. As a matter of fact, we have acquired a company called SignalFX, which allows you to basically monitor application running on containers. Okay, so we are very much advanced here. Same with cloud. We have lots of connectors which allows you to get data from GCP, Azure, AWS, right? So as you can see, Splunk is leading in the market, right? We're ahead. We've basically we've made sure that we adapt based on the market. Okay, so we've seen the changes. We've seen all the new software and solutions being introduced, and basically we are ahead. We've developed some integration. We've given you a way to monitor the whole infrastructure. Okay, and if you check the Gartner report on the ITOA, we are very well positioned. The same goes for security. Okay, so I know we're famous for SIM. Okay, and there is a good reason, because we've been leader for many years now. So you can check the Gartner report on that. And now basically we're entering the APM, right? So we're actually in the visionary quadrant of Gartner. So again, you can check it out. So at the middle, here in the middle, you have the indexers. Okay, so basically, indexers are in charge of the heavy lifting. Okay? Everything is done by the indexer, pretty much. So all the data, the indexers, all the data is stored into the indexers, and the indexers are what we call search peers. Why search peers? Because they're in charge of running the searches. So if you run a search here, at the search head level, you write down a search, the search will be sent to your indexers here. We use technologies called MapReduce, and we use Bloom filter as well. So I encourage you to look it up, right? So Bloom filter and MapReduce. Okay, so it's a good way to make sure that we balance the load between all the indexers. So you can cluster indexers together, okay? And the advantage of doing so is basically to replicate the data, okay? So you can actually replicate the data. Now we have also decoupled the computing and the storage layers of the indexers. What I mean is that, let's say that you're running out of, sorry, let me rephrase that. So, before, when you were running out of storage, you had to install a new indexer, right? Even though you had the, more than enough computing power. So now what we have done is we have separated those layers. So now if you want to, put your storage on Amazon S3, you can do so. Okay, so that gives you a bit more flexibility. And finally, you have at the top the search head. So a search head is basically your GUI. Okay, this is where you will run your SPL queries, reports, alerts, etc. And again, you can have a cluster of search heads. So your knowledge objects will be replicated between all the search heads. Okay. Now let me go to the next slide. So basically, I was saying earlier that you don't have to use a universal forwarder, but a universal forwarder is packed with a lot of goodness. Okay, so for a couple of reasons. First of all, it does buffering, right? So let's say that you have the forwarder, you have the indexer. Okay, so communication drops between the forwarder and the indexers for whatever reason. The forwarder will basically buffer the data at the memory level and also at the disk level. So you have various caching mechanisms. So basically, when the how do you say, the connection is reestablished, then the data will be passed. So you don't lose any data. Second, the forwarder will encrypt the data. So it will compress and encrypt the data being sent to the indexer. It will load balance automatically to the indexer. So it will make sure that the data is basically evenly loaded between all the indexers. Okay. It has a very small footprint in terms of memory and CPU. It doesn't use much, like seriously, and it gives you the ability to collect the data, like to collect the log files, Windows events, metrics, scripts, etc. Okay. Now, one thing I want to stress out here: Splunk doesn't sell any hardware. Okay, we are actually when it comes to hardware, we will give you recommendations. We will tell you, okay, so this is how much storage you need, this is how much CPU, this is how much memory, this is how many indexers. So we will give you those recommendations, but we are vendor agnostic. Okay, so we don't recommend like specific vendor, and we don't provide hardware, which gives us much more flexibility. So today's environment, okay, so basically we'll have some sample data to play with. This data is access combined, okay, so web server related. And at the end of this session, you will be convinced that machine data is not complex, but it is valuable. Okay, and this is exactly so. What you can see here is what we will do during this session. Okay, so we will drive outcome from the data. So for example, here you can see that this data is being used for marketing, right? So show the top product viewed by languages. Okay, so here the language is French. You can see the IP of the client, and you can see which product was viewed. Okay, so again, you can see which products are popular based on countries. DevOps use case: which mobile handset should I test the most before releasing my new app? Okay, so which one are very widely used by my customers or by my employees, right? So that I know that I don't have to test extensively on the platform. I can just stick to this platform and or I can just run like more extensive testing for this platform and model. IT operation, web pages with error. Okay, so if something is happening, I want to know why, right? And I want to know where is the issue, right? So again, Splunk gives you the ability to investigate. Here you can see the status code, you can see which browser was used, the ID of the web session, etc., etc. Okay, this is something we'll do today again. So okay, so by now you should have access to your sessions, right? So let me just get to okay, right. Let me just check. Do we have any questions? Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, now, okay, lots of people were asking for username and password. Now you have it. The username is admin and the password is change me. Okay, I give you like, I give you like 2 minutes. All right, so I have a question regarding IT operations. So from an IT operation point of view, do you provide any thought of best practices today that you have to look into these logs? Yeah, we actually do more than that. We have an application. So we have various applications. So I will go through what are applications just after. I will explain what it is. But basically, we have applications specifically for IT operation. Okay, and we have an application called ITSI, which gives you the ability to ingest, metrics and KPIs which are relevant to you, right? Which are relevant to your business. And I'm not only talking about IT KPI. I'm talking about business KPIs. right? So you have like Splunk app for infrastructure, which provide a good visibility for IT operation when it comes to troubleshooting. Okay, so it's mostly it mostly consists of metrics, and then you have ITSI, which is great from a business point of view. Okay, so doing event analytics, knowing, for example, when a service is impacted, let's say that your database is down, how it will impact other services, and also what are the KPIs associated with the database. So the database is down, but why? What happened? Right? This is what you want to know, yeah? So, storage went high, right? CPU went, or storage run low, CPU went high, whatever it is, yeah? So, we help you through the whole onboarding process. So we'll do a service decomposition with you, and based on your data model, based on services which are relevant to you, we will create like a service tree, right? And we'll onboard the key KPI information. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I don't see any question in the chat, so I assume that everybody was actually able to log in. Again, if it's not the case, please let us know. I cannot monitor the chat at the same time, but someone is actually monitoring the chat. Right, so basically when you log into Splunk, okay, you will have this nice screen here, and you will see one application, okay, the search and reporting app. Okay, so this is the default application. Now, having said that, we have a rich ecosystem of applications and add-ons on Splunk base. So what is Splunk base? It's like, your app store or your, market store. Okay. So, Google Play App Store, whatever. Yeah. For Splunk specifically. Okay. So applications can be vendor specific, for example, and applications actually are more of a visual kind of thing, and they're built in with dashboards, reports, alerts, visualizations, and workflow. That's applications. So I will give you a tangible example after. And then you have add-ons. So what is add-ons? Add-ons are actually used to help you get the data in, right? They will help you put the data in the let's say the right format. So especially when it comes to enterprise security, you want to use like a common taxonomy for your data. So enterprise security is our SIEM solution, by the way. So you want to use a common taxonomy for your data, and this is what add-ons actually do. Okay, so they make the ingestion of data easy or easier. Okay, so let's say that tomorrow you decide to purchase Splunk, okay, and you start ingesting data, right? So let's say that you ingest data from a specific vendor, whatever, Cisco, F5, So basically you could go to Splunk base and you could check, do I have any applications or add-on related to Cisco or F5? And I can guarantee you will find them, right? And you just need to install those applications and add-ons, and that's it, right? Basically, the straight away out of the box, you will get your data, right? You will get your reports, your dashboards, your alerts, macros, etc., etc. Okay, so that will basically decrease the time to value. So you get like a faster time to value. Okay, and most of those applications are actually free of charge, right? Out of those 2,000, I would say like 95% are actually free of charge. Okay, so might as well leverage them. And I would say that maybe 30% of those have been developed by our community, by our partners, by our customers. There are lots of vendors using Splunk as well for different purposes, right? They use Splunk for their SOC. They OEM Splunk as well, right? There are lots of vendors like security vendors out there which actually OEM Splunk, right? And basically, aside from those free applications, we have what we call premium applications. So what are premium applications? So for example, enterprise security is a premium application. So enterprise security is a SIEM, is our SIEM solution. It's a premium app. Okay. So you have to pay for it. ITSI is a premium app. ITSI helps you address anything related to IT operation. Okay, so ITSI is like ITSI with Splunk Enterprise is a full-fledged AIOps platform. I know this word is like overused in the market, right? But this is like this is like a true AIOps platform. Okay, and you have other applications for compliance. So for example, PCI applications, etc. So Splunk can help you as well when it comes to compliance. We have applications for PCI, HIPAA, GDPR, etc. Right. Okay. So basically, those will be the tasks. Okay. So you will have to create a new app. You will have to monitor a directory, and you will have to select a source type and view your data in Splunk. Okay. Now, let me see. Okay. So what I will do here. Okay. So what I will do here, I will help you out. Okay. So instead of just showing you like slides, I actually hid the slides because I'm not a big fan of the slides. So what I will do is I will go directly to the GUI. Okay, so try to follow along. So here, just click on Search and Reporting, click on Manage Apps. Okay, let's give it a bit of time. And here, basically, you can choose Create App at the top right. So create an app. Let's call it for rookies. Okay. You have to give a folder name. It's very important as well. You can use the same. It's fine. Let's make it 1.0. So you want to make it visible or not? It's up to you. It could be a private app. It could be an app that you use for your own sake. And Splunk is very good as well when it comes to that. When it comes to role-based access control. So Splunk gives you the ability to limit the kind of visibility and access that you have based on specific indexes, right? Specific indexes, specific data, right? Specific assets, okay? And specific applications. So here we keep this template, right? And just click Save. Version 1.0 is invalid. Okay, make it version 1. Okay. Okay. And the cool thing with Splunk is that it will tell you as well what's wrong, right? Okay, there you go. So now I have created my application, as you can see here. Okay, so I can go now to my apps, and I can see Splunk for Rookies. If I wanted to find more applications, I could click on Find More Apps. And here, basically, this is Splunk based, right? So, I can drill down by category, right? So IT operation, for example, I can check apps or add-ons, okay? Support type, etc., etc. Okay, and I can check based on vendors, for example. Okay, so if I choose, for example, I don't know, Cisco, right? This is very, it's very used broadly used in all the environment today. Okay. So if you have like Cisco, here you can see all the applications and add-ons which have been developed. Okay. So again, pretty cool. Just install the apps and add-on, and off you go. That's it, right? You get value from your data straight away. Anyway, let's go to Splunk for Rookies, the Splunk for Rookies app that you have created here. So click on this. And basically now you will go to Settings here at the top right, and you will go to Add Data. Okay, so click on Add Data. And let me just check the chat if everything okay. So here, okay, let's skip the tour. Don't worry, I will give you the tour. So here, just click on Monitor. And here we'll choose File and Directory. So just something quick here. So you have like upload, monitor, and forward. So what is the difference? So upload is basically a one-off. Okay. you have like an Excel sheet, you want to upload it and you want to transform it, right? You want to make it into a nice pie chart or bar chart or whatever, and you want to add it to a dashboard. You want to save it. You want to share it with specific parts of specific parties of the company, etc. Monitor is basically dynamically monitoring. So when I monitor any change which have been done, at the file directory folder level, basically, it will replicate. Okay. So here, just click monitor, choose file and directory, choose browse, go to var log. Okay. And now you want to go down to web log. Okay. And just web logs. Okay, so you want to monitor the whole thing. Make sure you take the whole thing. So var log web logs. Select. Here you could create like a white list or black list if you wanted to. Now let's click. So basically, in a folder, there's some specific fields or specific events that you can add and specific one that you want to blacklist. It's up to you. Okay. Now click. Okay. Oh, sorry, my bad. I've added those already. So basically now, let me do something. Okay. So data input, I'm going to remove them and then do it again. Okay. So var log, delete. Okay. Okay. I hope I have the right to do so. Yes, cool. So let me go back to the Splunk for Rookies app and follow the same process. So settings, add data, monitor, files and directory, browse, and then var log. Okay. Okay. Sorry. So web logs. All right. So select, then next. That should work. Okay. So basically here you have the ability to click automatic for the source type or to select it. So what we will do here is that we will select the source type. Okay. And here what you want to find is basically access combine. So you can click here, access, you see, and basically you can select this specific source type. So National Center for Supercomputing Application Combined Format, HTTP Web Server Logs. Okay, so here that's the one we want, access combine W cookies. All right, so as you can see, we have lots of source types here, which again makes the ingestion of data easier and faster. Now, as you can see here, you could create a new index, and this is recommended. Okay, in a production environment, you don't want to put everything in the default index, and I will tell you why. So let's say that you have, I don't know, you ingest like 1 tera of data on a daily basis, and you use one index. Okay, now can you imagine every time you query this data, you query one index? Okay, so what will happen is that will make the searches very slow. So what you want to do is you want to optimize your searches. So instead of having one index, you want to basically segregate or isolate the indexes. So you want to have multiple indexes so that when you query the data, you query one specific index and or 2 or 3, whatever, right? But you're very specific in your when you query the data. And basically that will optimize the searches, that will reduce the load on the indexers, and that will make the searches faster. It's also good for retention. So let's say that you have different type of data, and the retention might be different for those type of data. Some data you might want to keep 3 months, some data 1 year because of PCI compliance regulation. So having different indexes gives you the ability to set up different retention times. Okay, now don't be confused, indexers and indexes. Indexes are actually inside the indexers. So one indexer can have multiple indexes. Okay, I hope this is clear. And then basically role-based access control. So you can have multiple indexes and different type of access based on the index. Anyway, I'm going to review, and here you have, make sure it actually matches what I've done here. Make sure it matches everything I have on the screen, and then click submit. Okay, and now you can start searching. So now it's what, 11, I think we've been going on for 1 hour. So I will give you 5 minutes to actually search your data. Okay, so I'm going to mute myself for 5 minutes, and I'll be back with you in 5 minutes. So just like, just have like a walk around. Yeah, just check, what you can do. Check the timeline, for example. Check the field. Check the different mode. Check what you can do, what action you can take, etc. Okay, so I give you 5 minutes. Right. So I had like another question. So I'm going to address this one quickly. So how do you move configuration from subprod to prod instances? So when I say configurations, I mean creation of reports, dashboards, or alerts. So basically, when you create those into an app, for example, and I mean, they will be created into an app. So for example, in the search and reporting app, or in Splunk for Rookies or whatever, you can easily copy them and add them to the new instance. Okay, so you can copy from CLI, for example, directly. Here, the dashboard, you can so if you go to the dashboard here, let me see. I hope we have a dashboard. I'm not sure we do actually. No, we don't have a dashboard. So when we'll create the dashboard later on, I will show you how to take the whole source code of the dashboard if you want to. Okay, so you can do it at the dashboard level. You can do it, very at the granular level, or you can do it like, you can copy an app if you want. So the app will include everything, right? All right, so I'm going to just unmute myself. Okay, I could not resist. Let me give you a tour. Okay, so this is basically where you will run a search. Okay, now, okay, this could be a bit intimidating when you see, when you see the dash, when you see this GUI, this interface for the first time, right? You might be thinking, where do I start, right? So you can start with a keyword, for example, okay? So if you don't know your way around SPL, don't worry about it. It's fine. When I started, I didn't know my way around SPL either. So here you could do like, fail, right? So is there any, there might not be any fail word here. I don't think we'll find it. But let's say, okay, purchase. Okay, I want to see purchase, right? Okay, cool. Right? So you see, you don't need to know your way around SPL. Just by searching purchase, you've been able to retrieve all the logs which have the keyword purchase in them. Okay, and as you can see, this is basically raw data. Okay, so we just collect the data the way it is, and here basically this is collected at the forwarder level, right? So at the source level, so the host, source, and source type metadata, and those are some fields that we extract when you search the data. That's why we call it schema at read. So here you can see all the schema that we have applied to the data when you actually run the search. Okay, now basically, okay, so I have my search. Now I want to see, I don't know, I have like my purchases. I want to see purchases for a specific product ID. Okay, I can just like go to product ID and click, this one here. Okay. All right, so now I can see my purchases for a specific product. And now I might want to see when, if it's online purchase, when the status was successful, right? Okay, so you see, there you go, right? So just by clicking and adding those fields, I just like created a new search, okay? And then if I wanted to transform it, I could do stat count by, a statistic command is basically what we call a transforming command, okay? Stat count by action, okay? So here, let me remove purchase, so any action, okay? And there you go. So you can see all your actions here, right? You could visualize, and you want to see a pie chart, okay? And there you go. You see, in like a matter of what, 1 minute, I was able to show you a simple search and create like a dashboard panel for me, right? So very easy, very easy. So let me now go back to the search. So here you have like you have like the timeline. So let's say that you have identified an outlier, right? So something which is very uncommon, like a high number of events. You could just like could just zoom, okay? So you could zoom in. Here you can check. You can choose different type of search mode. So if I do fast, for example, that will retrieve only the fields I actually asked for, right? Only the interesting field. If I do verbose, that will be a bit more talkative. So I will have all the fields basically. And a good alternative is smart, right? So good, it's midway, between fast and verbose. Here, jobs, if you want to share the job, if you want to save this search. I think that's it pretty much. Yeah, you have the timestamp. So basically what we do is we apply a TS-IDX, so a timestamp indexer. Okay, and this is how we index the data. Okay, I don't want to get into too much details today. I don't want to overload you with this information, right? But if you're interested, just let me know, and we can set up like another session, and I can really go through how Splunk actually ingests the data. All right. Okay. So I believe time picker. Time picker is very important. So here you can choose the last 4 hours, for example, So you can choose real time as well if you wanted to. Okay, and you can, if the time range that you want is not here, you can actually add it yourself. Okay. All right, so now start exploring your data. Okay, so this is like a quiz, right? So how would you find events with status code of 200 which are not purchase events? Okay, so think about the logic, right? So when you run a search, first you have to think about the logic. So how would you find events with a status code of 200 that are not purchase events? Okay, so I give you 5 minutes for this one. Let me know if you need more. Okay, in the Splunk console where I can see index, I could not find it in interesting field or selected fields. Okay, you will see it somewhere. It's actually here, index, right? Can you see it now? It's here. If you want, you can add it. And this is like best practices is whatever fields you use very often, I will click here, selected. Okay, and it will be added to the selected field. Okay, so for example here, action, we will use it often, so you can add it. Stages will be used often, so you can add it, etc. Okay, so whatever fields you use very often, you can add them to the selected field. Okay, hope that makes sense. Okay, cool. All right, I just shared a question in the chat. So basically, how do you find the session so far? So let me know if I go too fast, if I go too slow, if you need help, if you're struggling with something, if you find it useful, etc. Okay. All right. Okay. So who actually found out? How would you find events with a status code of 200 that are not purchase events? Okay. So all right. Let me help you out here. So let's say that you don't know. Okay. So purchase. So here basically when I did the search for purchase, right, it actually retrieved all the events where purchase was actually mentioned. And here, as you can see, purchase is basically the action. Okay, and you can see here as well, action equal purchase. So what you wanted really is to just select action equal purchase, and then you want to know how would you find events with a status code of 200 that are not okay. So they are not purchase events. So here basically it says action equal purchase. What I want is not purchase. So there is something simple that I can do is to add an exclamation mark just before the equal sign. And here I'm gonna click search, and as you can see here, action, there you go. You see purchase is not there anymore. Okay, so I'm halfway through solving the issue. Now I want to see a status code of 200. Okay, so it says status. So it gives you a hint here. So if I click on status and I click on 200, there you go. Okay, so now I can see all my actions which are not purchased and which have a status of 200. Okay, as simple as that. I could have done something like, not action purchase. Okay, I could have. Honestly speaking, I prefer this here. Action does not equal purchase. As you can see here, you don't have to add the AND operator. It's explicit. Okay, so you don't have to add it. Like you don't have to add this here. Okay, it's explicit. Okay, so it's not, no need to add it. If you wanted to add it, it's fine. Yeah, you will see it removed it. So there you go. Okay, so as you can see here, the two options that you had. All right, okay, so Splunk search processing languages, so what we call SPL. So basically here you can see it broken down into specific commands and functions. So here is your search. So my search is action equal purchase. So I want to see any logs where the action was purchased. However, I want to transform it. So I want my results to be piped into a transforming command. So I want to see my stats count by status, right? And I might want to show a pie chart or a bar chart or whatever. And I want to rename count as a number of events, right? Why? Because count might not, it might does not mean anything for me. So if you share the report with me, for example, and I can see count, number of events, I'd be like, I can see the count field. I'd be like, what is count, right? What is it? So if you label it number of events, for example, that will make more sense for me. So basically, rename gives you the ability to rename a specific field. Okay, so if you take this one, for example, so let's see, action equal purchase, and then what's it's stat count by status. So let's break it down. Okay, so here you have your statistics, the status, and based on the status, the count of events. And now if you go to visualization, there you go. You have like a nice pie chart. Now I want to, let me go back to the statistics actually. So I want to rename count as number of events. And there you go. So you can see here, the count field has been renamed to number of events, right? So, I mean, SPL is very rich, and there are lots of things that you can do through SPL. Okay, so those are some very basic commands. You can do much more than that. You can do some advanced, mathematical calculation, for example. So I recommend, let me see if I can share it with you, this one. Actually, no, I cannot share it. Let me just stop sharing my screen, and now I will be able to share it. Okay, so I don't want you to miss out anything, guys, because I can, if I can tell you I will share it afterwards, but then I might forget. Okay, so all right, so basically, I just shared it in the chat. So you have the Splunk quick reference guide, and you have the docs, which I'm going to share in to share in the chat. Okay. All right, done. Okay. Now let me share my screen again. All right. So this is today's scenario. Okay. So you're basically one of the few. So you're a Splunk Power user, and you're working for a Buttercup Enterprises. So Buttercup Enterprises is a large national online retailer operating in the US, which sells a variety of books, clothing, and other gifts through its online web store. Okay, so Buttercup Enterprises have recently invested in Splunk, and of course now they want to get the most of it. Okay, so they want to see how they can use Splunk across the business. So you remember initially I told you that Splunk is not just a product, okay? It's a platform. It's a platform which gives you the ability to address various use cases across security, IT operation, development, business intelligence, application development, etc. Okay, and we are recognized in those different how do you say sectors. So what we will do here, we will basically create various dashboards for all those different use cases. So IT operation, so you want to investigate successful versus unsuccessful web server requests over time. DevOps team, you want to show the most common customer operating system and which web browser are experiencing the most failures. Sales business analytics, you want to show the lost revenue from the Buttercup Enterprise website. And security fraud teams, you want to show the website activity by geographic location, right? And this is the dashboard that we want to get at the end. Okay, this is what we're aiming for. So hopefully we'll all get there. All right, so the first one. Okay, so basically, you're tasked with investigating successful versus unsuccessful web server requests over time. So here, what we want is to show all website purchase failures over time. We want to use a stack column chart visualization, and we want to add the chart to dashboard. Right. So I will give you a bit of time to do it yourself, or try to do it yourself. If you can, great. If not, don't worry about it. The whole point of today's session is for you guys to get hands-on experience, right? To play with the product. It's not relevant if you cannot finish all the dashboards and queries. It's at the end of the day, I will give you all those queries. I just want you to get familiar with Splunk and to see how easy it is to use, really. But it's a learning curve, right? So I'm going to give you, let's say, until 11:30 for that, right? So 8 minutes. So I give you a couple of tips here, right? So, I mean, by looking at this dashboard, this dashboard panel, that will give you a clue. So for example, here on the right, you can see 200, 400, 404, 406, 503. What are those, right? Status codes over time, okay? So, I mean, the answer is there, okay? You just need to look at the slide. All right, so I have a question here. When we try to save our search, we get an option to save as report dashboard panel. What is the major difference between them? As I can add report to the dashboard, yes. A report is, easily shareable across, the organization, I guess. If you don't want to give access to the dashboard panel, you can just retrieve a report and send it to someone. But here, basically, what we'll do is we'll save it as a dashboard panel. Okay, so we will basically add it as a dashboard panel. How come when I search for purchase, I get the results, but if I search for status, I get no result. Status equal to 100. Okay, so what is the search exactly? So okay, let's give it another 5 minutes, and all right, let me see. All right. Okay. So so let's see. Okay. So basically, what you wanted here. Okay. Let's see. So let's you want to investigate successful versus unsuccessful web server request. Okay, web server request. So let's do the source type access combine. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay, so I'm just like pulling my logs from the web server, and I'm interested in status. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a trick here. So something you could use here, but it does not apply really. But you could use, for example, the overtime, average overtime, minimum overtime, top value by time. Yeah, that won't work here. So here you have to use, so let's say it was time, right? Overtime. So overtime means that we have to use a time chart, right? So overtime, so time chart, and we want the successful versus unsuccessful. So count status. Okay. Right. Okay. So here we can see the count by status over time. Okay. So what else do we want? We want a stacked column chart visualization. So let's go to visualization, and first thing we want a chart, right? Okay, we want a column chart. Okay, cool. So we have a column chart now, but we want to stack it. So how do we stack it? You can go to format here, and you can choose stacked. So you can choose stack mode. All right. And I believe that's what we want, right? So yeah, stack column chart visualization. So here you can see, basically you can investigate your successful versus unsuccessful web server request over time. So whatever had a status of 200 was successful, okay? Whatever has a status of over 400 was unsuccessful, right? So that gives you a good view on the health of your business, and the underlying infrastructure as well. Okay, so if you see, for example, an increase of whatever 503, 404, whatever, if you see an increase of those error code, that would indicate that there is an issue with your environment. So you can go and investigate. Okay, so here I want it all for all time. Okay, cool. And now I want it as a dashboard panel. Okay, so we're going to create a new dashboard here, and we are going to call it successful versus, I believe I forgot. I don't know how to spell. This is bad. Versus unsuccessful. Okay. I was actually correct. Yeah, successful versus unsuccessful web server request over time. Okay. Right. And okay, this is presentation of my purchase. Okay, request over time by status. Okay. Now this is very it's very important to use like something significant when it comes to naming convention. Okay, because you will end up creating like lots of dashboards, and if you don't use like a good naming convention, you will get lost, and then you won't know why you created a specific dashboard. So very important that you select a good naming convention. Here you can choose to make it private, or you can share it. Okay, so let's share it in the app, and that's it. Save. And now if you want, you can go and view the dashboard. And there you go. That's my first dashboard panel. If you wanted to share the code of the dashboard, you could, right? Okay, you could share it with someone. Okay, you could edit this dashboard as well. We will do that later on. Okay. All right. So your dashboard so far. So this is the way it should look. Okay. Let me know if you're struggling with this part. Let's see. Okay, I don't have. Okay, there is no questions in the chat, so I assume we're all at the same page. Okay, cool. So let me go to the next one. Okay, so now what we want is we want to show the most common customer operating systems and which web browsers are experiencing the most failure. Okay, so show the most common customer operating system. All right, so basically if you search for all the web server events, as I did earlier, so let me go to search. Okay, one cool thing I'm going to show you. So if you have, for example, if you have run some searches in the past and you're too lazy to type the search again, you can go to search history here. You have all your searches here. You can just add to search. Okay, it's like, you know, it's a nice trick. So here, okay, so what do we want? We want basically the platform. Okay, so we want the operating system. So here we have it. So Windows. Where else do we have it? I think we had like Macintosh somewhere, right? But it's not being extracted. Okay, that's what we can see here. So we can see operating system information in our event, but we don't currently have a field we can use to report on. Okay, so how do you extract a field? And if we have like techies on the call, guys, you're gonna love that. Okay, especially if you're used to regex, and regex is actually painful. So here, let's say that the field is not there. You want to extract it. Just click on the arrow, click on event action, and click on extract fields. Okay. Now, basically, here you can choose how you want to extract your field. So let's pick. So for example, if it's like a CSV which is delimited by a comma, you will use these delimiters here. But for this log, we'll use regex. All right. So click next. Okay. So where is my field? So I think my field is here. This one. Okay. So I can click here. I can select the field, and let's call it platform. Add extraction. All right. Now, basically here, you can do show regular expression. So essentially, Splunk just built a regular expression for me. Just like that. And as you can see here, I can check all the events, and we can see that Splunk successfully extracted the relevant field, right? Macintosh, Windows, Linux, etc., etc. And then I just click next, and next again, and I save it. So let's call it platform, and then I can choose, you know, the permission. So owner, app, all app. So let's keep it by default to the owner. Okay, and then finish. And now basically, if I go back, explore the field I just created. Now you should be able to see a new field called platform. There you go. All right, how cool is that? Yes. So I didn't have to get my head around creating a regex expression. It was done automatically by Splunk. Okay, so I did the first part for you. Okay, so extract a new field platform. So just follow the same process. Show the top values using a bar chart visualization. Create an area chart showing the top 5 web browsers that are experiencing the most failure over time. Okay, so let me see. I think here, okay, they go through this process. I don't really like the slides. I prefer to show you live. It's more interactive. And okay. So I won't show you the answer. Okay, I give you, what time is it now? Let's see. I don't want to run over. Okay, that's fine. We have time. So I give you 5 minutes to figure out how to solve this one. Okay, let's make it 10 minutes. So I give you up to 10 to 12. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself now, but I'm still here. So if you have questions, feel free to address them in the chat. So I had a question regarding the extracted field. So, if it gets added to the source type, or it will be specific to that report, you can choose to make the new field available to everybody, basically, or specific to this app, or specific for you, so nobody else will see it. So all right, okay. So I believe 10 minutes have passed. So did you find a way to address this one? So let's see. So show the top values. So what do you want to see? You want to see the top values using a bar chart visualization. Okay, I'm going to show you a trick here. So first of all, let me take my platform, and I want to add it as a selected field. Okay, so it makes my life easier. Okay, so I want to see source type, access combined, and I want to see the top values, right? Okay, so you see you didn't need to write an SPL search here. Okay, you could just have clicked here and select the top values, right? So I think we want, let's see, the top, so show the top value using a bar chart visualization. So I think we're fine with that, all right? So we can, if you want, you can add this to your dashboard panel. So save as dashboard panel, and then choose existing. And you know what? I should have called it differently as well. So I'm going to change the name anyway. But here, let's call it top platform use. Okay, or top operating system use. Up to you. Okay. All right, cool. So I saved it as a dashboard panel. Now, okay, what is the next one? All right, let me know if I go too fast, by the way. So here what I did is just, okay, I'm going to do it again just for you to see. So I search all my data, I click on platform, and I chose top values, and that was it. Okay, that's it. Here you get the top values. So which one are most commonly used in your environment? It's very handy when it comes to DevOps, right? So again, if you want to develop specific software, you want to know which operating system is widely used, so you can extensively test. Again, for example, here we will test extensively for Windows and macOS because those are the most widely used. Now, okay, so create an area chart showing the top five web browser or user agent that are experiencing the most failure over time. Okay, all right. So, okay, so basically here, so what do we want? Okay, so we want first the failure. Okay, so failure if you take status and choose event with this field, so let's do superior or equal to 300. Okay. Okay, so that will indicate an error. Okay, so status which is equal or superior to a 300 will basically indicate that there is an issue. Okay, so what else? So we want to see the top 5 web browsers that are experiencing the most failures over time. Okay, so the keywords here are actually top 5, user agent, because that's the field we will use, and over time. Okay, so let's find a field called user agent. Do we have this? Yes, we do. Here, user agent. All right, and as you can see, that indicates the web browser being used. So we want to see the top 5. So we'll check top values. So that's what we'll add. So let's click on top values. And okay, cool. So we're halfway there. So now we have to see the top. We have the top values, but we want to limit it to 5. We want the top 5. Remember, right? So let's click on top 5, and there you go, right? And now we want to see what do we want? Visualization. Okay, this is an area chart. Okay, so let's click on area. No, sorry, that was area chart. Let me do it all time. Need 5 user. Okay, that's weird. Okay, that works. Okay, let me see. Now that should show me. That should show me everything here. So basically, that should show me like different, different stats, not one only. So I must be doing something wrong here. Okay. I choose. It's definitely the area chart. Remove this. Okay. So there's something wrong here. Okay. So this one we've done. This one we've done. Okay. All right. They did it differently. So sorry, my bad. Okay. Sorry. Time chart. So we were good here up to this point. We're okay. Whatever is equal. And now basically what we actually want is the time chart. So we want to see over time, and we want to see account by user agent, and we wanted the top 5, right? Yes, top 5. So limit equal 5. So if I do that, let's see. Yeah, that's much better. That's much better. So here I have my top 5, so I can see. Here Mozilla 5 for Macintosh, etc. However, there is an issue here. Look at this one here. Other. It's taking everything basically. It's kind of how to say messing up my visualization. So I don't want other. So how can I remove other? I could use other equal false. And there you go. Now you see I don't have other anymore. Okay, and here I have a better view. So basically, other will include whatever is not in this top 5. Okay, and that's why it was so it was taking the biggest part of the screen. So now we can see we have all the information, and again we can save it as a dashboard panel existing, and top 5 web. All right, cool. All right, that's fine. So now let's see. So this is what we have so far, right? That's our dashboard. Actually looks good. Okay, so this is what you should have normally. Okay, so all right, let's jump into the next one here. All right, so working with statistics. So I mean, we've seen the statistics, so the stat command, right? So stat and time chart are actually transforming command. The main difference is that time chart will give you values over time, over a period of time, or a stat will give you like, you know, just a value based on specific fields. Okay. All right. How can you predict the future with Splunk? How can you do it? So there is basically a predict command. Okay. So you will use. So let's say, okay, let's take this one. So it's what action purchase. And here and chart by actually now comes span equal, so it's 5 minutes. And here we will use something like, if I'm not mistaken, predict. And future time span, I believe. And here we can specify a value. So for example, 24. Okay. All right. So visualization. Okay. Cool. All right. So what did I just do here? Okay. So basically, I took, you know, what I want to do is I want to predict what will be my purchases in the future, right? In the near future. So here, what I just did is I took action equal purchase. I pipe it, so I want to see it on a time period, okay? And now basically I want to take like a span of 5 minutes, and I want to multiply these 5 minutes by 24. So I want to basically predict the future in, you know, 24 by 5 minutes, right? So that's what I want. So it will be, I think, roughly like or something like that, okay? So that's what I want. I want to take basically this data. I want to take the past data, right? And I want to, you know, break it down into span of 5 minutes, and I want to predict the data in the future. And as you can see here, I have my account here, and I have my prediction. Right? Pretty cool, huh? So I think this is the way to do it. Yes, correct. 2 hours in the future. So as I said, basically what we do is we analyze the historical data, and then based on the historical data, we will predict the future. Okay. Now, basically, each Splunk, you know, product has some embedded machine learning in it. So Splunk Enterprise has some machine learning algorithm in it. Splunk Enterprise Security also use machine learning. Splunk ITSI use machine learning to be able to predict outages. So again, this is like, you know, basically what you do is you feed the historical data. You feed the historical data when, you know, your services was healthy and when it was not. Okay, and then Splunk will check, and it will be like, okay, so here there has been like, you know, there has been a deviation from the norm, from what was normal. So I can see there was like an outage, and before this outage, I could see some leading KPIs going down or being impacted, like CPU storage, whatever, right? So basically, Splunk will ingest this information, and if it actually sees in the future that, you know, if it sees that your CPU is going high, your storage is going running out, whatever, right? So if it sees those same KPIs which have been impacted in the past being impacted again, it will tell you, be careful. In 30 minutes time, you will have an outage. Something will happen with this service. So it will predict the health of the service, and it will tell you which KPIs are basically responsible for the health of this service. Okay, so that's one way we use machine learning. We use it also for clustering. So we use it for event analytics, again in ITSI, to group events together based on common criteria, for example, right? So it's a way to aggregate events together. It's actually, beyond aggregation. It's much more than that. Anyway, all right, let's go to the next one. Okay, so what do we want now? We want to show the lost revenue from the website. Okay, so we want to see how the revenue has decreased or increased from the website. Now the thing is, we might not have all the fields here. Okay, so if we check, let's check. Okay, let's check the action purchase. All right, so let's see, what do we have? We have product ID. Okay, that's fine. We have this field, but we don't have the product revenue, for example, the product price. We don't have that. We don't have the product name. We don't have this. Okay, so how can we address this issue? And for example, the product ID doesn't make sense to me, right? If I check MCB5, I don't know what it is. So how could you basically enrich the data so that you add some fields? Okay, you can use what we call a lookup file. So what Splunk will do when you run the query, you will specify, I want to go and check this lookup file. So Splunk will take, for example, the product ID, and it will go and retrieve the price for you. So it will tell you, okay, for this product ID, the price is whatever. Okay, so here normally you have like a lookup file which has been created for you. So if you go to settings, and if you go to lookups, and here if you click on lookup table file, so you can have like static lookup, you can have dynamic lookups as well. And here you can see, okay, there is this one here. Okay, so product code. Okay, so it has been created for you already. Oops, sorry. I want to go to the Splunk for Rookies. And here, if you wanted to, for example, see what's inside the file, you can use okay, there you go. Right, that's what's inside. That's what's inside this lookup file. So as you can see, we have the category, we have the product ID here, we have the product name, and more importantly, we have the price. And this is what we want here. We want the price. Okay. Now, how do you reference a lookup file? So you will need something like action equal purchase. Okay. Then you will need like add this command, right? And then I let you figure it out. I think you have the guide anyway, so it should be in there. But basically, what you want to retrieve. All right, let's see. Okay, so all right, that's basically what I told you. So what you want to retrieve is the product price. So what they do here, so let me explain it to you. So they do, so basically product underscore codes.csv is our lookup file. Okay, that's our lookup file. But here, if I do that, that won't work. Why? Because I need a hook, right? So what is the hook? The hook is product underscore ID. What is a hook? A hook is a common file, is a common field between what we have in Splunk and the lookup file. So the hook here is product ID because we have this field here and we have it in the lookup file as well. So as you can see, by doing this here, by doing the lookup product codes, so I look up this file and I use this hook, I was able to retrieve some fields that we didn't have up to now, like product name and product price. Okay, And now I let you basically do the rest. So what you want is to show the lost revenue from the website. Right, so I have a question regarding prediction. So how can we remove break times and holidays? So this is something that will be done automatically when it comes to ITSI. We have something called, hang on, adaptive thresholding, right? Yes, that's the one, adaptive thresholding. So basically it will calculate, it will check, and it will know, when you have break times and holidays. However, having said that, you can also specify it like manually. You can say, okay, I don't want, my prediction to run on the weekend, right? So, Friday, Saturday, or even like, holidays. I don't want this prediction. Okay. So, if there is like a peak, or if there is like if the traffic is less than expected, you won't get any alert. Right? Does that make sense? All right, let me help you out with this one here. This one is not really straightforward. Okay, so what do we want? Okay, so we want the revenue, right? So we want to know the how the revenue will increase or decrease. So all right, so basically by doing this lookup, we were actually able to retrieve the product price, and this is what we need really. Okay, so what we will do now, we'll use this one here, time chart, and then sum, because that's what we want. We want the sum. Okay, um, and let me see, I think it's called product price if I'm not mistaken, and that should do the trick. All right, so now what I want is a single value. Okay, there you go, right? So this is what you want. You want to see how the product price actually decreased in that case. It's not a good thing, but you want to see how it actually decreased. and then you can format it if you want. So, you can basically, show some specific color if you want to, right? Based on the range, you can basically show a trend interpretation, okay, etc., right? So there you go. That's the command that you want. So I'm going to share it with you on the chat. Although I think you have it on the guide. And let's move on. So let's see. All right. Yes. So basically, that's pretty much it. So in that case, they make it look nice. If you want, you can do that as well, right? It's totally up to you. Let's see from range. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's basically what they did. So now I can save it as a dashboard panel as well, existing, and revenue loss cover time. Okay. Great. Let's view the dashboard. And my full dashboard. All right. It's okay. Okay. All right. So this is what you should have so far. Right. And here, by the way, if you want to, you can move panel across, right? So the dashboard is very dynamic, so you can choose how you want to view everything, right? So let me save. That's one of the good things with Splunk. It's very open, and it's very easy to use, really. Okay, so you could do by product name as well if you wanted to, right? So this is taking it one step further. So you just need basically to run the same how do you say, the same SPL query, but here you just add by product name. Okay, and normally there you go. You can see format can probably, okay, there you go. Right, you could have something like that. They did it differently. I kind of like this one. If you want, you can add it to your dashboard as well, right? So you can see which one are being sold, the most. So costume, manhawk seem to be very popular, right? Okay, so you can save it as a dashboard panel if you want to as well. Right. Okay. So now basically, what do you want? So you want to obtain location information with the IP location and Geostat command. Okay. So all right. So let me show you something here. So I'm just going to do the source type all access combined. Right. So last 24 hours. Okay. So here, by default, if you check, country, region, city, you don't have it, right? It's not in there. Why is it not in there? Well, because you need to do a lookup for that, okay? So here we might, if you check the client IP, so that's cool. We have some public IPs, okay? So we could do a lookup. Now, how do you do a lookup? You use the IP location and you do it based on the client IP, okay? So if I choose here client IP, now basically what happened here, we can see that some new fields have appeared. City, country, maybe latitude, longitude. We have region as well, right? So you can see just by adding this one, the IP location here, we're actually able to retrieve those fields, okay? Now, basically, what is the Geostat command? Okay, so the Geostat is like a transforming command, okay? So we'll take your search. You will type it, and it will show you, the information in a nice, in a nice map. Okay, right, there you go. Right, that's basically Geostat Command. So now you can see the traffic based on specific city. Okay, I could have done it by country. Okay, so now basically you want to use the IP location command to enrich the event. You want to create a world map showing location of all website activity down to the city level. Add your visualization to your existing dashboard. So here in that case, we want to, so the security fraud team want to see the website activity by geographic location. And optionally, you could basically specify, I want to see traffic coming from a location which is not whatever, right? So let's say that you don't do business with specific countries, or your headquarters is located in whatever, Spain or UAE, or so basically you can say, okay, I want to see traffic which does not originate from this location. Okay, so you can actually do that. So it's up to you. You can do like just the way I showed it to you. So you can do a search, and you can do the IP location, client IP, and then geostat count by city. Or if you want to go a bit further, you can do a search when a specific country is not whatever. Okay. So I give you 10 minutes on that. I'm going to mute myself again. Do you have any questions so far? How is the pace? Is it good? I want you to get I want you to get something out of this session. So I don't want to go too fast, and I want this session to be informative for you guys. So let me know if it's useful for you. If it's not, let me know why. So I have a question regarding IP location. So how does IP location command find the location? I mean, in case of on-prem implementation, do we need internet or location data should be ingested in the system? So basically, you have like lookup files, right? So if you check here, if you go to settings, you have some lookups. Okay, so this is where Splunk actually retrieves the information. You can see here your countries, states, and cities. There is also a copy of there is also geolite.ccty.mmdb. This is database file, and normally you can see the file in Splunk OPT. Well, depending where you install it, but Splunk, it's in the OPT Splunk share. You can update it as well. You can update it manually if you want to. So basically what it does, it takes the IP, providing this is a public IP, and it will go and check against this database. And you have like IANA, which basically gives IP addresses, and they have like specific range for countries. This is how you can determine which country or which city an IP address belongs to. I hope that makes sense. All right, so normally this one should be pretty easy. It should be pretty simple because I kind of showed it to you. So you should know how to get this result, this visualization. Now, my ask to you, has anyone been able to do it based on the country, right? So when a country is not, for example, when a country is not whatever, United States or France or, you know, did you manage to do that? Anyone? Right. Okay. So I guess I can show it to you now. Okay. So basically, all right. So here, so you remember we do. Okay. So let's break it down. Okay. Let's do like step by step. Now, okay. So basically now you have this country, city, etc. Okay. Now basically what you could do, you remember I told you about the search. Okay. I told you about the search command. I told you it's actually implicit, but it's, you know, it's at the beginning here, right? However, if should you use it, you know, inside a search, you will have to explicitly add it, right? So what do we want? We want when a country is not whatever. Let's see what country we have here. Okay, not Mexico. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. When a country is not Mexico. Okay. Now, first of all, you want to make sure that okay, it doesn't work. All right. Cool. So let's do something else here. So let's do. Okay. Let's see. I did something wrong in that case, I believe. Okay. Okay. So IP location client IP. Okay. So search country is not United States. Okay, cool. So there must have been an issue with the syntax. Okay. All right. So as you can see here, you see, United States has disappeared. It was Mexico. I like Mexico. So okay. So as you can see here, you see Mexico is not there anymore, right? So this is the first step, right? So now basically you can see the traffic, which is not, which is originating from anywhere aside from Mexico. Okay. And now basically you want like a visual interpretation. So in that case, you will use the Geostat count by, so you want it at the city level. Okay. So here, there you go, right? So now you can see there is no traffic coming from Mexico anymore. Okay. So if you want to remove it, you will see the visualization will actually change. Right, so you can see now Mexico is back on the map, right? Now, one thing that you have to be very careful here, don't do that, okay? I've seen, you know, this is very common, right? So whenever I deliver Splunk for Rookies, not whenever, but it happens quite often when I deliver those sessions, okay? So if you do that, you won't get any result. Why? Splunk is very logical, okay? And the logic goes from left to right. So here you basically ask Splunk, I want to see when a country is not Mexico. But the problem is Splunk has not yet retrieved the location, okay? So it will retrieve the location here, IP location. Therefore, you have to add this after. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So it's very logical. It's like, for example, when you rename an event, okay, so when you rename a field, Okay, so do add count by status, rename count as okay, let's do that. Okay, because I'm too lazy to type. Okay. Okay, and let's do pie chart here. Okay, so basically here, if I if I were to add whatever another dedupe, for example, if I want to deduplicate, okay, I want to deduplicate on the count. Okay, let's do that. So dedupe count. That won't work. Why? Because count, as far as Splunk is aware, has been renamed as count of events. Okay, and that's the reason why. Okay. Here it won't dedupe anyway, I think, because of the command. But yeah, basically that. There you go. Right. So it actually dedupes. So it deduplicates. Okay. But if you use count, it won't also count. It won't actually work because it doesn't know anymore. It doesn't know count. As far as Splunk knows, it has been renamed. Right. Okay. So this is the last step. Make your dashboard dynamic. Right. So there are lots of things that you can add to your dashboard. Okay. So here you can see some of the dashboards that we have created. Right. So you can see, for example, the OI demo, which I love here, because the OI demo goes through all the different use cases. So it has a dashboard with IT operations, security, IoT, etc. So you can see everything from there. Okay, and this is a dashboard that we have created. You can see a glass table at the top. So a glass table is like a visual representation, being at the business level or at the technical level. So it could be a topology, right? Or it could be some, how do you say, some nice business visual representation with KPIs, with a key performance indicator, revenue, customer satisfaction, whatever, right? Your business KPIs. And here you have like, another dashboard that we have created. So basically, as I say, you can add like drop down, you can add checkboxes, links, etc. And the cool thing is now with Splunk Mobile, with the Splunk Mobile app, you basically get everything at your fingertips. So you get you can access your instances from a mobile. You can get your alerts. You can see your reports, your dashboards, everything. Okay. So, all right, there is something which is called dark mode. Okay, so you can try it now if you want. It's actually kind of cool. It's very, I mean, it's very handy as well. It's not only cool, it's very handy, especially if you're in a SOC or a NOC and you used to, look at the screen for hours. Like having the screen white will basically, hurt your eyes at some point. Whereas when it's black, it's actually softer on the eyes. It's better on the eyes, basically. So, all right. So here, basically, you can put it in a dark mode. So it's pretty easy. So if you go to your dashboard here, and my cool dashboard, and you edit it, and you can choose here dark theme and save it, and refresh, and there you go. It should go to dark mode now, right? Yeah, let's give it a bit of time. It's actually refreshing. There you go. It's much better. Honestly, I prefer this this kind of view. Anyway, so here basically what you will do is you will add a time picker. Okay, so you will add a time picker. So basically, you're able to see to have a dashboard view for the last 2 hours, the last 24 hours, the last 60 minutes, whatever. Okay, so this is what you will do here. So how do you add a time picker? Okay, so I'll show you quickly. So edit, add input, time, here. You can call it label time and certain changes if you want. And oops, what did I do? Okay, time, and click like you can choose a default, apply, and right. Okay, so let's save it. Now it won't work. Okay, so let's do last 15 minutes. You can see nothing is happening. Why? I'll show you. Because here, if you go to your searches, so if you go to edit search, you can see that this search is basically using the default time picker. So you have to tell Splunk to use the new one, the one that you created, the shared time picker. Apply. And you can do so for all of them, right? Shared time picker, apply. And now basically let's save. Now if you do if you change, okay, you can see, there you go. This will change automatically, whereas this will not change because we've not added a time picker here, but we can do so as well. It doesn't hurt, it's very easy. Apply. And let's do the same here, okay? So, I mean, there is much more that you can do with dashboards, to be honest with you. This is very, very basic and very easy to do, okay? So I just created like a time picker. So I will give you 10 minutes to do so. Actually 5 minutes because I showed you how to. So it's pretty easy. So again, go to edit and add input and choose time. Okay. And then basically once you have done that, click here, use a label. Okay. And that's it, right? So you could use like variables and stuff like that in your dashboard. I think we have a course which is called Advanced Dashboard and Visualization or Advanced Dashboard and Reporting, and it goes in detail into how you can enhance your dashboard and create some very fancy dashboards. Okay, and it covers all those different features that you can see here. Now you can add a panel from an existing dashboard or from a report. You can clone panels, etc. Okay, so I have a question here. Yes. Okay, is it possible to have field selector on dashboard which can filter? Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can do so. This is a very common use case. Yes, you can. You can. All right, let me unmute myself. So in the last 5 minutes, can you walk through training portal for available free training for power user and admin? Yeah, sure, I can do that. It's fine. How do we edit search to add time range for all the dashboards? So here, if you go to edit, okay, so I'm going to run through it slowly. So if you go to edit, so here you have created your time picker, okay? So your time picker has a token field 1. So what you will do here, you will go to the edit search button next to each dashboard panel. So edit search, and here in the time range, choose shared time picker. That's how you do it. Okay, same here. So you do it for all of them. So edit and shared time picker instead of using use time picker. Use shared time picker. Field 1, you can see it's the one that you just created. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I've not made any change here, so I can cancel. Okay, so let's go to the Splunk connected experience. So as I said, we have a Splunk Mobile app, right? On Google Play and App Store as well. So basically everything at your fingertips, right? You can access your instance, see your dashboards, reports, take action, which is very important, okay? Because you're not always in front of your laptop, okay? You might be on the go, you might be having lunch with someone, and you receive an alert. You can take action directly from the application, okay? You have a mobile app for Apple Watch as well, which is pretty cool. You have Splunk Augmented Reality application. So what is Splunk Augmented Reality? Right, so let's say that, let's take an example. So you're walking around in your environment, and you have like switches, servers, routers, whatever. So basically what you can do is you can put like a QR code on each of those, and just by pointing the augmented reality application towards those QR code, it will show you the metrics. Okay, so let's say that you point it to a server, it will check the code and it will tell you, okay, so those are the metrics for the server. The CPU is this level, the storage is this level, the memory is this level. Okay, so instead of going to check for each equipment, you can just go around with the augmented reality application, and you can just scan the QR code or NFC tags. And then you have like Splunk TVs, Splunk Apple TV specifically, so you can display all your dashboard on the Apple TV. And that's it pretty much for this Splunk for Rookies session. So hopefully you did not end up like the guy on the right. Okay, hopefully you end up with a nice and fancy dashboard. But as I said, don't worry about it. I mean, the first time I went through Splunk for Rookies, my dashboard did not look like that at all. But it was a learning curve, right? So at least I got like more familiar with the interface, and I learned some stuff along the way. So I hope you did as well. So Splunk Resources. So Splunk Base, we talked about it. Splunk Answers. So whenever you're stuck, there is something that you want to do and you don't know how to do it, just go to Splunk Answers. There is like a huge and vibrant community of Splunkers out there. So most likely what you want to achieve, or the problem that you're facing, someone has gone through it before, so they can help you. Okay. Splunk events. So every time there is an event, there was Splunk Live recently. We'll have Splunk.conf, Splunk.conf, which is it's an amazing event. We have like customers and partners from all around the globe flying and getting on stage and talking about their use cases, talking about how they use Splunk. So it's very good. That will give you some ideas, and it's very good for networking as well. Developer resources. If you're a developer, you want to develop applications, you can do so as well. Documentation and education. Okay, so Splunk Add and Splunk Apps and Add-Ons. Okay, so I actually showed you Splunk Base earlier on. Splunk Answers, developer resources. Okay, so whatever integration you want to work on, like REST API, SDK, you have lots of information there. Splunk is a very open platform. Okay, so that's when I'm being asked for competitive information, I hate to destroy the competition, right? That's not the way I approach things. So I normally talk about Splunk key differentiators, and one of them is basically the fact that it's an open platform. Okay, some solutions, some competitors have like a private ecosystem, and don't get me wrong, it's not bad when you have like when you buy all the products from their portfolio. Yeah, it's fine. But then if you want to integrate with third party, then you're stuck. Whereas with Splunk, it's like, as I say, it's open. You want to, do an API or SDK integration, you can. And also Splunk is a platform. Okay. So when you see Splunk, don't see it as a SIEM. Don't see it as an IT operation solution. Don't see it as a business analytic. It's all of that. Okay. It's all of that. It's a platform that you can use for various reasons. You want to use it for business analytics, fine. You want to use it for ITOA? Fine. You want to use it for SIEM? Fine. Documentation, education. So let me just go through the education with you. So, okay, so all right, so education, training, certification. So everything is in there. So basically you can see here what courses are free. Okay, so Splunk Fundamentals 1, this one is good, Splunk Infrastructure Overview, UBA. I didn't talk about everything here. I didn't talk about all the products, okay? But we have much more than Splunk Enterprise and Enterprise Security or ITSI. We also have user behavior analytics. We have signal effects, which is basically our APM kind of microservices, monitoring solution. We have Phantom, which is our SOAR platform. Okay, so we have like an extensive portfolio. So I encourage you to go and check what we have. So here you can see the free courses, and you can see the learning path. Okay, so there is something I could do. Let me just a sec. I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to stop sharing and share again. Just a sec. Huh? All right. So in my drive. So I'm going to show you the accreditation path. It will make more sense. Okay. All right. So basically now you can see the accreditation program overview. So I'm just going to go quickly. So you have the sales rep accreditations, which are free of charge. So you can see here what you need to achieve to get sales rep 1. So you have to follow a course which will last 6 hours, and then you have like an online exam, which is 1 hour. Same with sales rep 2. So those certifications are free of charge. They are very good as well to improve your knowledge on Splunk. Then you have the IT and app sales rep, right? Then you have the security one, so specifically for those verticals. Then you have the SE, okay? So SE, so basically you have, for example, SE1. So SE1, you need certified user and power user. You need those 2 certifications, and basically you need to do the Splunk Fundamentals 1 and Splunk Fundamentals 2. Right, you need those 2 training. So it's like roughly 17 hours online training, and then you have to take an online exam, which is open book. Okay, so those 2, certified user and certified power user, are actually Pearson certifications. Okay, and then once you have all this, you become SE1, and then you have access to lots of different resources. Okay, so for example, you can access our demo portal, which is pretty cool. And I don't want to go to, you have SE2, you have architect, you have post-sales. So I don't want to go through all of that. If you have some questions specifically regarding the training, you will find lots of information here on the education training certification portal. If there is anything you cannot find, just let me know. Okay. How about Android mobile and Android smartwatch? So Android smartwatch, I don't think it's available. Android mobile, it's available, yeah, for Apple and Android. Free developer license goes expired every 60 days. Do you provide a long time free license for partners? Yeah, we have like NFR license. Okay, so when you're a registered partner, you should have an NFR license. Can you share that accreditation document? Yes, sure. It's available on the partner portal, but I can share it. Yes, that's fine. Just drop me an email. So again, I'm gonna share my my email address again. So if you need anything, just drop me an email, and I'll be happy to assist you. And that's it. I think we completed the whole session. So we completed Splunk for Rookies. I really hope this was informative for you. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. Please talk about it, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, etc. Okay, and stay tuned for a more cool session to come. Okay, and that's it from my side. I don't know if you guys from Redington you want to add something. Okay, I don't think so. All right, so okay, so that's it. That's the end of the session. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I wish you a good end of the day.